Hello YouTube, this is Goddard Radio Moscow here again with another beer review for you today. Now for this one we're going to return to Germany, specifically to the city of Bamberg, which is just to the northwest of Nuremberg in the state of Bavaria. And this is a brewery I really like talking about. This is where my love of craft beer really began when I went to visit the city of Bamberg. And this is the sister beer of the Weizen that I reviewed for you just a little while ago. This is the Aecht Schlenkerla Rauchbier Weizen. And I've never actually tried this particular variety of Schlenkerla, so I'm really interested to see how this one differs from its Weizen's sister. But as is usual with my beer reviews, I'll just take you through a little bit of a history of the brewery. Hopefully you'll want to stay with me for that. This is from a really beer-rich part of Germany, if you like, just bordering on the Franconia region, and of course Bavaria is very proud of its beer history as well, so hopefully you'll want to stick with me for that. But as I always say, if you are simply just interested in the tasting of this beer, then feel free to fast forward towards the second part of the video and you will catch that particular segment. But anyway, as I mentioned, the Schlenkerla Brewery is located in the historic town of Bamberg in Germany, as I say, just to the northwest of the city of Nuremberg. And Bamberg is actually really cool because it went largely untouched during the Second World War, and the city has a lot of wineries and monasteries that you can go around and visit. It's actually a big UNESCO World Heritage Site, if you like. But the Brauhaus is located right in the centre of the old town, and it's a very famous and well-known brewery throughout Germany. But the Brauhaus is on Dominikanstrasse in the city, and it was actually neighboured by the Dominican monastery. And the history of the tavern started with the formation of this Dominican monastery in the 14th century, and the first mention of the brewery on paper is in the year 1405, and the Brauhaus building was apparently sold a number of times between the years 1405 and 1615, and during the 30 Years' War, which was 1618 to 1648, the brewery building was destroyed and then rebuilt, and the brewery itself was actually founded in 1678. Before this year though, reports of the brewery are actually very scarce, but there's far more documentation after this year of 1678. However, since 1678 there have been numerous owners of the brewery. One of the most important of these owners though was Johann Wolfgang Heller, and he took over the brewery in the mid 18th century, and he owned an old rock cellar for beer storage up on the Karlberg hill just outside the city of Bamberg. And this storage facility was later moved to Stephansberg Hill, which is actually inside of the town today. But over the course of the 19th and 20th century, the brewery was gradually moved to this location just above these ancient cellars in Stephansberg. Now in 1877, Andreas Grasser became the new owner of the brewery, and he had a slight physical handicap where his arms moved about in an odd way as he walked, and the Franconian dialect for this was Schlenkern. And after this, people soon began to refer to the brewery as Schlenkerla, despite the official name of the brewery being Hellerbrau. And in 1907, Andreas' son Michael took over the running of the brewery, but by this time more and more people were visiting the brewery, and they actually leased a part of the former monastery building from the Bavarian government, who had become the owners of the Dominican monastery during the course of secularization. If you've been watching my videos, you might remember I talked about this with the Weizen brewery as well, the oldest brewery in the world, of course, there. But in the 1920s, the buildings in Dominikanstrasse, the chapel of the Dominican monastery, were actually being restored by the Germanic Museum of Nuremberg in the 1920s. And in 1960, the restored part of the tavern was bought from the government by the company, and Michael Grasser's daughter Elizabeth and her husband Jakob Trum took over the running of the brewery. And in 1967, they passed the brewery down to their son German Trum. Now, over the years, they've modernised the brewing facilities and opened new rooms within the Brauhaus and added a beer garden in what was a former yard of the monastery. And in recent years, the facade of the Brauhaus has been modernised, and the famous historic ceiling painting on the monastery has actually been restored. And I have to say, just after going through the history of that brewery there, this is a really cool brewery. If you ever get the chance to go and visit Bamberg, definitely go and do it. As I say, it's very unique in Germany because it went largely untouched, so you're getting a taste of proper old Germany here, and of course you've got these wonderful beers here, so if that's not motivation enough for you, then I don't know what is. But just to talk about the other beers that the Schlenkerla Brewery do. Now the other Schlenkerla beers are the Rauchbiers. They have this one which is the Weizen, they have the Weizen which has the brown trim around it here. This is the common thing with the Schlenkerla beers, they all have different coloured trims around the old style label, if you like. So the Weizen is the green one, obviously, as you can see, the Weizen is the brown one, and they also have the Urbock, which used to be red but I believe has now been changed to gold. I've never seen the red labelled one, and I have a bottle that has the gold trim on it. But they also have the Aecht, which is the Doppelbock, and that has a really sort of Christmassy green label. And they also have the Lager beer, which is a sort of kind of pale blue label, if you like. I'll have one of those to review for you at a later date, and that is a Munich Helles style beer. But let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself. Now I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the bottle here. And this is the typical style of a Schlenkerla label, if you like, and you can see here, as I was talking about, Brauerei Heller Bamberg. That's the official name of the brewery today, named after Johann Wolfgang Heller, of course, one of the main players in this brewery, if you like. But you can see it's a really nice sort of old and German style of beer. You can see there on the top there, I'll just bring that back, the light seems to be hitting it a little bit. You can see it says here Bamberg Spezialität, so it's really cool there, and you can see it's Altstadt Bamberg there, and that's a picture of the townhouse here, actually. Really cool if you go and visit that in the city of Bamberg. But Altstadt in German just means old town, if you like. And you can see here you've got the Schlenkerla seal on the bottom here. It has a little bit of a description on the back here. It says original Schlenkerla smoke beer brewed according to the Bavarian purity law of 1516. Aecht Schlenkerla wheat is the unusual sibling of the classic Weizen smoke beer. Only the barley malt proportion is smoked over the beech wood logs, while the wheat malt remains completely unsmoked. The light smokiness is coupled with complex notes of banana and clove created by the use of Bavarian-style wheat beer yeast. It is unfiltered, which means it will be cloudy, unpasteurized, and bottle conditioned. And as you can see here, it's a 5.2% Rauchweizen, so it's a very, very unique style, if you like. But let's get this guy open and get on with the tasting. As I say, I'm really looking forward to this one here. But let's get this guy out and get on with the tasting here. Good bit of smoke coming off the top of this bottle here, as you can see. But let's get this guy out and get on with this. Really looking forward to this one, as I say. This is going to have a nice bit of head on it here. As you can see, just get this poured out into the tankard. It's bubbling up quite a lot, but that'll go away soon. Typical big German head on these beers, of course. But let's just have a little look at this guy. As you can see, if I hold this up to the light, I'll just turn this light on so you can perhaps see a little better. I'll check that's not interfering with the camera. If I hold this up here, you can see a nice sort of, it's got a nice sort of reddy tint to it. It's a lot lighter than its sister beer, the Weizen, of course. You can actually see through this one. It has a nice sort of reddish tint to it, if you like, and a really, as I say, a really, really nice big head on it here. Let's try and get some more of this in. But yeah, in terms of the aroma, I'll just give this a smell before I taste it. Obviously, I'll need to wait for the head to go down a little bit here. But yeah, you can actually, this one smells quite a bit different as well. You can pick up the sort of smoky notes. It actually looks the same on the camera without the lights as the Weizen did, of course. But yeah, you can smell the wheat in this one. The smoke is actually is dominating a little bit, if you like, but you're picking up a lot of the wheat here, as you would expect, the banana and clove elements to the beer. But there's a nice woody and smoky underlining there, as you would expect with it being a Rauchbier. And as I say, this brewery is a really, really nice and unique one. But yeah, you're starting off with the sort of, I'm getting the cloves and the bananas here in quite vivid detail, if you like. It really is coming out, and you've got the nice bready, yeasty banana clove things, as you would expect of a Weissbier. Really, really nice. But there's a nice smoky underlying there. But yeah, really, it's a really beautiful smelling beer. If you get the chance to just take a smell of this one, you know, definitely give it a try. But as you can see, typical German head on the beers here. It's a really nice sort of frothy, just off-white head. That's a good 3-4 fingers, if you like. I'll just try and take some of this off. But yeah, really, really nice beer, these ones, I have to say. You can even taste the smokiness in the head there. But yeah, really, really just a big kind of frothy head there. Hopefully it'll go down just a little bit. I think that's more manageable now. Just take a little bit more off. Actually getting down to the beer there now. I'll just try and get the last little bit of this in. We'll see how it behaves. There we are, sorted. Now we can get on with this. As I say, 5.2% Rauchweizen in this one here, and you can see the beautiful colour. You can see a bit better now. There's a good bit of carbonation coming up here. Very small bubbles here, but I've heard this one's a very, very smooth beer. Like I say though, I've not actually tried this particular variety of Schlenkerla. But yeah, Really nice sort of clove banana smelling there, and you've got the nice smoky and woody backbone there, and as you can see, a really beautiful looking, very German looking beer, I have to say. But let's give this guy a taste without further ado. Yeah, really, really nice beer, as you would expect from Schlenkerla here. You're starting off with the smoky and meaty flavours that are kind of similar to the Märzen, if you like, and I would say. There's just a hint of woodiness in there, actually, as you would expect. I think it said, yeah, it was burnt over beech wood logs, so you're getting that nice kind of woody taste in there as well. It's actually quite a distinctive woody taste, maybe just because of the beech, I would say. It's not like the other sort of aged wood you get. It's not got that vanilla note to it. It's more a very, very smoky wood, if you like. I don't know if the beech will give it such a unique taste, if you like, or if it depends on the wood that they're burning these things over. But yeah, you're starting off with the smoky, meaty flavours, and as I say, you have that hint of wood in there. And then it's giving way to the sort of bready, yeasty, banana clove elements that you would expect of the Weizen. This actually gives it quite a nice sort of sweet note, if you like, after that. It's really nice, the sort of lingering taste, you just have that little bit of smokiness in there. And then the sort of bready banana on top of it, if you like. It's got a nice sort of lingering taste, this one. Very different from its sister beer, the Märzen, of course. In terms of the mouthfeel, it's actually a lot lighter than its sister beer as well. This one's more of a mid-bodied beer than a full-bodied one, in my opinion. It actually finishes a little bit dry, which makes you want to take another sip of it. It's quite a beer that reels you in that way, if you like. But yeah, it's definitely, it's more of a mid-bodied beer in comparison to the Märzen one, and as I say, it has that little dry finish on it, which makes you want a little bit more. And you have some sort of, you have soft carbonation here, but it's a lot wetter feeling than its sister beer as well. It's a nice, it's a bit more easy drinking, if you like. This is more of a beer that you can, you could drink this a bit quicker than the Märzen. That's probably a good way to describe it, if you like. But overall, it's a beer that's definitely worth trying, both for just how unique the Rauchweizen style is, and just how good the brewery is too. And I mean, it's a very, very unique town, like I say, a really, really beautiful place in Germany. So if you ever get the chance, go to Bamberg and try these beers. And as I mentioned in the review, this beer, you get a really nice sort of woody, smoky opening there. The wood's more in the background, you have that nice sort of smoky and meaty opening to it, and you have the nice sort of Bavarian style Hefeweizen notes coming in after, the bready banana yeast with the cloves in there too. Really, really beautiful beer, and as I say, try this one simply for the uniqueness of the style here. And this is an excellent brewery. I might be saying that, it's one of my favourite breweries, of course, as I mentioned. This is where my love of craft beer started. I forgot to show you the bottle cap in this one, actually. This is the standard Schlenkerla bottle cap. This one's just a green one here. As you can see, it has the same seal that's on the bottle at the bottom of the label there. But a really beautiful beer. I highly recommend you try this one. Please let me know in the comment section, of course, your own thoughts on this beer. But I hope the review has been informative for you today. As I mentioned, I really like doing these Schlenkerla beer reviews. I've got another 2 to do for you at the moment, and I'll hopefully get more of them when I go to Germany in early January. So hopefully you can look forward to that. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please consider it. Like I say, I hope this beer review has been informative to you. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Thanks again for watching my beer reviews. This is Goddard Radio Moscow, and I'll be back soon with another one. And lots more German beer to come, of course, if that's your thing. Cheers.